Is this show Saturday or Sunday? Is it Wednesday? What's today? Oh, today is November the 16th. Dynamite just on the air. Oh boy, oh boy. Okie dokie. There's some of the news and notes I want to mix in with the review. But this first note I think is very interesting and it's kind of underhanded, but let's do it anyway. I saw Brian Solomon, I'm sorry, that's his name. He is the gentleman who wrote the book on the Sheik Farhat. He apparently went to this show at Bridgeport, Connecticut, and took pictures of all of the empty seats at this show. This is an AEW booster. This is an AEW fan, by the way. This is not some WWE fan. He used to work for WWE, but now he's one of those former writers that now doesn't really care about the company and just kind of attacks them. But he posted this and to see all the empty seats. He says, "There's no way this place is even half full. Scarily empty house for TV and a go-home show, no less. Hard camera side, totally empty. The rest maybe 2/3 full. Reminds me of some mid-90s WWF Madison Square Garden house shows I went to." Now, here's the even sadder piece of business. I forget which person on Twitter posted this because I saved the picture without taking a screenshot. So I apologize to whoever this is, but this person apparently lives or frequents the Total Mortgage Arena in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Apparently, he got an email from Bill Domica, Vice President of Partnerships. And it says, quote, "Hi all, as past purchasers of WWE here at Total Mortgage Arena, formerly Webster Bank Arena, I wanted to shoot you a note to let you know we have some inventory on our premium suite level and would love to chat with you. The AEW show is this Wednesday night. Please email premiumseats@totalmortgagearena.com. Let us know how many people you would like to bring. We will get back to you with a price. We would love to have you here for this televised show. Thanks, Bill." So he didn't quote a price. He just says, "Hey, tell us how many people you want to bring, and we'll tell you how much it costs." And he's emailing. Now, it's not exactly the worst thing in the world that if you're having trouble moving tickets, that you would contact people who like something similar to what, these people like. These people that he's emailing are former WWE fans or former WWE fans or whatever. People who've been to the arena before. And he's letting them know, hey, something similar is here. Because he's not married to WWE. He doesn't have to be loyal to WWE. He can, try to pawn off AEW tickets on WWE fans. He can do that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that at all. But when you look at the arena and you take into account this guy is sending these emails around that people have screenshotted it and posted it. Hopefully I'll remember to put it on the screen. It doesn't bode well for AEW. It really doesn't. Recently, David Zaslav, the CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery, he's come out and even said, "Brother, we don't even need the NBA." And you know how weird that is for a guy to say? For a guy to come out and say, we're willing to get rid of the NBA. Here is what Joe Flint tweeted out. He is a Wall Street Journal media reporter. He says, "We don't have to have the NBA," says Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav. "NBA deal up in a few years and is a driver of TNT's big sub fees. But big rights fee increase expected. He suggests you could put the NBA on HBO Max and be the NBA's direct-to-consumer play." So he's basically saying they don't even want to pay for the NBA. Here's from Front Office Sports. Warner Brothers Discovery is prepared for life after the NBA on TNT, with the NBA potentially seeking $75 billion for its next set of media rights. Warner Brothers will be disciplined in negotiations. We don't have to have the NBA. So, what does this have to do with AEW? Well, as I have been saying on this channel for quite a while, a couple of weeks ago, there was a young lady who was, I believe, the vice president of content or chief executive officer of content or whatever for Warner Brothers, and she talked about how AEW did great numbers and how AEW, they wanted to do shoulder programming, and which they've started shooting this backstage show that they're going to do. They've already started shooting as far as my knowledge is concerned. But she was talking about that, and AEW fans were extremely excited because they believed that it was a shoo-in, a guarantee that AEW was going to get renewed, since the chief content officer was, giving AEW their flowers. I, on the other hand, was saying that's a good look. It's not good that they want more non-wrestling product as opposed to wanting more wrestling product. But it was still good. It was nothing to complain about. Now you see the boss. This is what I tried to tell people before. She's not the CEO. David Zaslav is. He's the one making the decisions. If he's going to make an executive decision to get rid of the NBA because they may have want too much money, what do you think is going to happen to AEW? I put this asterisk next to it every single time. It all depends on what Tony Khan wants. Yes, wrestling is cheaper to run than the NBA, but it gets lower ratings too. Yes, the NBA doesn't have an off season. Wrestling does, but it gets lower ratings, and it brings in lower tier ad revenue, and it brings in lower tier sponsors. If David Zaslav is saying we're not going to pay for the NBA, which some people will tell you is the only reason they even watch TNT, that they will never. I saw a guy tweet out, "I'd never turn to TNT without the NBA being on," and he got a lot of likes, and a lot of people agreed that what TNT is a highly watched station, but because of the NBA. If he's willing to just say, screw the NBA, the second biggest sport in the country after football, what is he willing to do to your little podunk wrestling company that can't sell out a building in Bridgeport, Connecticut? I think we need to be measured a little bit in our appraisals of AEW. We have to be open and honest and look at all the information that we have in front of us. The ratings are steady. There's about 800 to 900,000 regular viewers. It's been damaged a lot, the brand, when it comes to the CM Punk stuff. CM Punk is apparently going to be gone. We don't know if he's ever coming back. It's not looking good so far. He's off being an MMA commentator, so who knows if he's ever going to come back. So we're looking at the situation saying like the brand has taken a lot of damage. It's not WWF though. WWF has taken all kinds of bullets, and if Vince could kill the WWF, he would have killed it in like 95. It would have been dead. I don't think Vince could even kill it at this point. But AEW is only 3 years old. One or two major scandals and it's over for this company. Not being able to renew their rights deal is going to be a problem. They need to start courting other buyers. They need to really look into not being able to trust Warner Brothers. David Zaslav is a maniac. He's out here just slashing everything. You probably need to look into going somewhere else. Even if he's willing to re-sign you, who knows? He might change his mind in a couple of years. I mean, this guy is, again, if a guy is crazy enough to say, I'm going to get rid of the NBA, I mean, I would imagine he doesn't care about my company. And I would look somewhere else. Now, I've been pitching this idea around. Somebody else kind of planted the seed in my head. I wish I could give them credit, which, I think by saying it's not my original idea, that's enough. But there have been people who have been pitching around the idea that maybe Warner Brothers may buy into AEW as a way to keep the company from leaving. And maybe they buy in. They buy a share of the company. It's not Tony's decision to make. It's his dad's decision. If his dad wants to sell a piece of AEW in order to keep the show alive by keeping it on TES or whatever, that's something to consider. I said that before too. And that's something I will say was the original idea. I was saying this stuff long before most people, that these multi-conglomerate corporations are going to look, they're not going to pay exorbitant rights fees. They're going to be looking to buy things outright. That's why they're merging the way that they are. WWE is not the only company that could possibly be bought. I've been saying this for a while. When it popped up on the news that Fox bought USFL, and NBC, of course, has the XFL, and therefore they're not in a mad rush to really go out and get the NFL, because the NFL is, again, the rights fees are going up for the NFL. And they're going to go up even more with streaming, because now there's more competition. There's Amazon and Apple and all that kind of stuff, right? So regular TV networks are just kind of saying, we're just going to start our own thing. We may start our own football league. So why wouldn't they, if they can't get WWE, or if they don't want to pay for WWE, they just get their own wrestling league? There's plenty of wrestling leagues out there for them to buy into and just throw it on their platform, which is what I'm looking at when I'm talking about like GCW or MLW or something like that. I can just see somebody coming in and just saying, look, we can bite into WWE's audience. We don't have to have Monday Night Raw or SmackDown. We'll just buy this small promotion, put some money into it, or just do what Anthem does to Impact, which is just keep it around, run it low budget. Wrestling fans will watch just about anything, and that's true, especially if you watch NWA. We'll watch just about anything, especially if it's just going to be on TV pretty regularly. Then you can cut into that space, and you can limit WWE's buyers, and therefore they'll have to drive their price down. So that's something to consider, that maybe Warner Brothers might want to buy into AEW. They might want an ownership piece of the company for the amount of money Tony Khan might want for it. For the rights fees, rather. Of course, that would be them talking to Shad Khan, because he's the one who owns the company. So that's interesting. That's just interesting stuff to talk about. I wouldn't say it's a news or a note. This is just me connecting dots that the company cannot possibly be doing very well. And it's not the first time we've seen, AEW's buildings almost empty like this. It's different from WWE. I know a lot of people are going to say, well, WWE sometimes have these empty buildings too. That is true, but WWE is different. It's been around for a long time. It has name value. They have more sponsors than AEW does. Remember, the AEW fan base was thumbing their nose at Domino's. Like, how dare you say that you're not going to have a commercial during Dynamite because of a pizza cutter incident? Screw you, Domino's. And that's not how business works. It's not. It's just not how business works. It's stupid. Don't be dumb. So it's just something to think about. It's something that I was thinking about. So let's get into the show. Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara lose to Claudio Castagnoli and Bryan Danielson. Claudio wins with the sharpshooter on Jericho. Interesting enough, Claudio has beaten Jericho twice, both times in tag matches. Now he's going to get a title shot at Full Gear. I don't know why we're doing that again, but apparently Jericho is going to just beat this guy again. Jericho had a bat in the ring because that's legal. And the horse-faced ref, she saw it. nothing happened, of course. Just really weird stuff, right? We're going to do all the MJF Moxley stuff now. So they did a vignette where MJF and John Moxley, they did a vignette. In the vignette, Moxley says that MJF is just a kid. And the question was that, can MJF do it on his own? That's the question. Interesting question. So we end the show, the entire program, with a Moxley MJF face-to-face. And Moxley comes out there and says, who is John Moxley? Talking about being the baddest on the earth. Saying that he seeks the toughest challenges. And he's sick in the head. He's addicted to inflicting pain and being beaten up. Says that he literally doesn't care. He claimed he did some research on MJF, which if you look at Moxley, you could tell the last thing that motherfucker is doing is research. But he claims he did. And then he claimed that he went through MJF's history so far. Said he's a decent singer. Said that he had the worst finish to a ladder match in history. Said that he went on a summer vacation. He somebody handed him a poker chip, and now he's going to challenge for the world title. He says, no, but MJF's not challenging me. I'm challenging you. I want you to show me why people think you're the future. Then he got jumped by the Firm, which instantly made this uninteresting. Can you find more uninteresting people in one place? You have to go to somebody's family reunion. Anyway, MJF comes down to the ring and he's punching out members of the Firm because he's an absolute badass. He says that he saved Moxley because he doesn't want any excuses, that this Saturday he's in, or Sunday. I'm confused what day it is. He said he said he's in for the fight of his life, and he's going to show that he's not some kid. He will not stop because he needs that world title more than he needs food, water, or oxygen. And that John Moxley is going to find out whether he is the devil himself. John Moxley did not know what day the pay-per-view was because he was too busy shrugging his shoulders and doing whatever else. He's probably just going to shrug and walk by after completely just botching this promo. And it was hilarious. It was not good. MJF, see, the issue is not MJF. MJF is extremely talented. I am a big fan of MJF. And I dare say that Triple H had his opportunity with Austin Theory to turn him into WWE's MJF. And he instead made him look like a fucking idiot by having his Money in the Bank get flushed down the toilet. It was infinitely stupid. But when you look at how AEW has handled MJF, they've treated him like a top star from the beginning. He's been treated like a top guy since day one. They have limited his in-ring work. They have limited his jobs. He doesn't wrestle that often. He cuts excellent promos. He usually buries somebody in these promos. He's involved in long-term feuds with guys who are over. And no, he doesn't always win, but he always comes out better because he knows how to get himself over. He is not the problem. The problem here is that they're doing everything in their power to kill the heat of this match. In fact, there is no heat to this Moxley MJF match because the heels, which are the Firm, are not involved. They're not in this match. So you got babyface Moxley, who people are, I wouldn't say they're souring on him, but they like MJF and they think it's MJF's time. So they're going with MJF in this match. That's what the crowd is anyway. They think MJF can fix what CM Punk broke. So they're behind MJF for that reason. They haven't done anything to make Moxley either the heel or the overwhelming babyface. So he just comes across as a guy. And he's been big league in MJF too, in calling him a kid and saying that he's a multi-millionaire and he's done all this stuff, which is, a knock on MJF. Almost the exact same stuff that Saraya said about Britt Baker. which is, we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about that later. And they haven't done a good job of building baby faces and heels. It's a Achilles heel of AEW that they simply don't buy into basic fucking storytelling. Get somebody that people hate, get somebody that people love, and put them together in a match to which people want to see the good guy win and want to see the bad guy lose. It is literally that simple. But AEW, just like modern storytellers in general, from comic books to movies or whatever, they want to have these sympathetic villains. And what ends up happening is you end up liking the villains more than the heroes. And you end up hoping that the villain wins. Or you sympathize with the villain and you realize that, yes, they have to play the bad guy role, but they should really be the hero. In a just world, he would be the good guy. We've been going through this with every Black Panther movie. There's only been 2, but every one of them, we've been going through this. We've been going through this through various films and TV shows and stuff lately. And now it's seeped over into the wrestling world, where nobody wants to play a fucking heel. Nobody wants to be a heel anymore. Everybody wants to be liked. Nobody wants to be... See, somebody like Braun Strowman or somebody like Baron Corbin, they enjoy being not liked. All right? They enjoy it. They enjoy it a lot. But people don't know how to take that. They take it seriously. They take it personally. It's sad that MJF was an incredibly talented... I shouldn't say was. He is an incredibly talented guy. But the company's fear in letting him be a heel is a problem. It sucks. It drains all the energy out of his feuds. He's got to be the heel. That's what works. You know, he's not your baby face. He's not that guy. Build a fucking baby face. But they're pushing him and forcing him to be a baby face. It makes no sense. Let's move on. Darby Allin did a video where him and Sting were in a car. Sting's always driving on this show. He's always driving faster, speeding or whatever. Darby Allin is forever in a body bag or something silly like that. It was Showtime, of course. Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett are very excited because they finally get this match at Full Gear. And Jeff Jarrett says that it was not going to be Showtime. It's going to be the last time. And I was like, well, this is not a good Jeff Jarrett promo. He could have taken a moment to spell his name at least. All right, second match. Anthony Bowens versus Swerve Strickland. Maskcaster did his rap. I didn't care about it. But the music video was hilarious. So the music video featured Big Show as Captain Insano. And Keith Lee and Sneaky Swerve, who is dressed like the goddamn Hamburglar. It is phenomenal that Sneaky Swerve is out here like the Repo Man. It rules. All right, Sneaky Swerve is the best shit AEW has produced in a long time. He's constantly rubbing his hands together. He's like that meme of the Jews. You know, you see that Jewish meme when he's always hunched over, rubbing his hands together. You know, the Repo Man stuff. Like, it is hilarious, bro. This shit is so over the top. And Keith Lee's got a toy phone. He's wearing a very tight shirt. He's wearing a very tight shirt. And he's got this beard, and he's got the balding joint. He looks like a guy just sitting on the couch. He's wearing sweatpants. It is amazing. It's amazing. And of course, he calls off the toy phone, utilizing his professor voice, which, of course, a million laughs out of me. A million laughs out of me, bruh. When he called her on the phone, it was like, Captain Insano, you were once my hero. I saw you in a movie when I was a small boy. I looked up at the screen. You were humongous. Your shoulders bulging. The red, white, and blue. You were draped in it. I looked up and I said, one day I want to be like Captain Insano. Grandmama, do you see this man? The size of him. He's a colossus of American beauty. I will one day want to be Captain Insano. In any event, Captain Insano, sir, what is the opportunity for Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland to regain our rightfully earned AEW World Tag Team Championships? Then Big Show is just cackling at them, because that's the scene in The Waterboy where he just laughs. And he sits there, and Sneaky Swerve is rubbing his hands together with the golds in his mouth and everything. It is phenomenal. I didn't listen to the song at all. I like the beat. I didn't listen to the lyrics at all. The beat was nice, and the mockery was great. The mockery is great. When Swerve set up a trap like Tom and Jerry, and then Keith Lee put his head in the trap and the box fell on his head, bruh, that was quality shit right there. That was quality Sylvester and Tweety Bird shit right there, man. I like that. I like this. I like the music video. I'm watching it again. I'm doing this review after only watching the music video once. But I definitely need to watch the music video again. It was good TV. You know, it was good TV. You made a fool out of Keith Lee, who, you know, they called me Cleveland Jr. Cleveland Jr. is a fictional character. I am very much real. Bask in my glory. I am not animated in any way. Mr. Swerve, sir, why are you rubbing your hands together thusly? Are you trying to start a fire? Are you cold, sir? Anyway, Anthony Bowens defeated, well, he lost to Swerve Strickland. The match was solid enough, I guess. It was fine. Can't wait for this feud to be over, though. They did a video for Jade Cargill and Nyla Rose. I couldn't believe they even wasted their time. This feud is over Nyla Rose taking the championship. She took the belt, and now that makes her the number one contender. Okie dokie. I guess somebody else should just take the belt then. Is it that easy? Why is this match a pay-per-view match? Nyla Rose doesn't even wrestle on TV. Nyla Rose doesn't even wrestle on TV. What the fuck? Doesn't matter. Humorously, every week now, Jade Cargill is making it her business to dunk on Shad Moss, aka Lil Bow Wow. Just, you know, dunking all over like Mike Little Ass every week. Just shitting on him every week. This time, she apparently found a picture of him in that arena and just kind of pointed at him and scoffed. And I was just kind of like, man, last week she dunked all over him and he came back for some more on Twitter. I'm just like, this guy must have just hired her to be his dominatrix. He must have just tied him to the bed. He must just go full Tony Atlas on this fucking guy, stand on his face or something like that. He'd probably be into it. Fucking weirdo. Moving on quickly. Samoa Joe cut a very great promo because Samoa Joe is very good at promos. He said that he refuses to sit around and wait to be a victim. Unlike everybody in this arena, he doesn't sit by and wait for people to save him. He saves himself. Because Wardlow said that he wanted his championship, so he says he's going to strike first. Then he said that Wardlow failed to recognize the most dangerous man in the room. And Samoa Joe is so good at promos. My God. God, this guy is great. This guy's phenomenal. Powerhouse Hobbs came out, said that he was the guy who's been kicking Wardlow's ass, and he wants to kick Samoa Joe's ass too. Joe says, do you bump your knuckles as well as you bump your gums? Bruh. If somebody says shit like that to me, we gotta fight. You know? Those are them fighting words, man. Then Wardlow came out there. He attacked Joe. They fought. All three of them fought. The locker room came out and separated them. Of course, there's bitches in that locker room. So even though they came out to stop them from fighting, the bitches kind of was like, oh, you know what? Go ahead and fight. I know I came out here wasting my time. And they allowed Wardlow to jump onto the pile. I don't like three-way feuds. This thing has enough juice with just Wardlow and Joe. Because Joe is going to carry it. And Joe didn't have a problem being a heel. You know? And Powerhouse Hobbs, he would have had the juice for Wardlow by himself too. God, this could have been a great series of matches. Rather than Wardlow wrestling both of these guys, it would have been so much better if he'd have wrestled one of them and then wrestled the other one at a later date. Like, it's a big pay-per-view show, so maybe we give the spot to Joe. I'm willing to accept that, you know, Joe is a bigger star than Hobbs. And you want to give Wardlow the rub because he needs it. So I definitely would have had Wardlow and Joe on this show, and then have Hobbs attack him after the match. After Wardlow wins, I would have had Hobbs attack him after the match, and then built up to a match between the two of them at what's that show that they do in the winter? Winter is Coming. I would have built up for that. But I don't know. What do I know? I don't know nothing. All right, then we got to the most confusing part of the show. Britt Baker put on her Meryl Streep voice and says 4 times Saraya mentioned that she wasn't a star. 4 times Saraya put herself over. And she said that in 3 years, she went from being a newbie that was nervous to becoming the bona fide leader of this locker room. And she said she became her own role model, that now she's undeniable. And that what bothered her more is that when she didn't wrestle in Madison Square Garden, but she wrestled at Daly's Place in Jacksonville, because when the fans couldn't come to them, they went to the fans, which is something that Saraya will never know. Then said that she respects Saraya, she respects her victories over addiction and her neck injury, but all of that was in the past. AEW is in the future, while Saraya is stuck in the past. And I just looked at this and I said, is she the babyface in this situation? The answer is clearly supposed to be no, right? She's not supposed to be the babyface in this situation. And yet, she cut a promo in which she talked about how much she respects Saraya and how much she enjoyed and takes pride in going to work in front of the fans during the pandemic. The crowd is definitely behind Britt Baker now, because she comes across as being the blue-collar, sympathetic, this is our girl, this is our high school quarterback type of character. She's our girl. You know? That's what the fans are going to believe when they go to this show. And you may say, Mongo, what's wrong with that? Did you just not hear me about 10, 15 minutes ago when I said somebody needs to play the fucking heel? Who's the heel? Saraya cuts a promo later when she says she's tired of going back and forth with Britt Baker. And that, you know, she came to AEW because she wanted to be here. And she's proud of coming here. And she chose to face the best. And the best is Britt Baker. And that was it. She didn't get down in the mud with Britt Baker. And I looked at this and I just said, bruh, are we looking at another CM Punk situation? Saraya's big comeback out of the ring for I don't know how many years. It's been 5 or 6 years. And her big comeback, you're going to subvert it by booking Britt Baker to be the baby face, or at least a sympathetic figure in this feud. That's stupid. It's stupid. Why would you want to mute the fan reaction for Saraya? It's not even an issue of, oh, she did it to herself. She's trying to big league Britt Baker because Britt Baker didn't been in the business for 15 years. Bruh, you adjust. You adjust the story. If you think that's what happened, adjust the story so that Britt Baker is a heel. Because that's what Saraya needs. She needs to fight a heel. It's basic storytelling. The babyface is going to make a big comeback to the ring. Being out of the ring for months and months and years. They need to have a big comeback opponent. You don't then mute their comeback by putting them in there with somebody that the crowd likes. Didn't you just do this with CM Punk and it didn't really work out? Punk got a great reaction, but then what happened to Darby? It killed him. So now you put yourself in this situation where Britt Baker, the high school quarterback, you know, it's the homecoming game, and the high school quarterback is going to go out there and play. Nobody wants to see her lose. And then what happens when she loses? Because she's got to lose, right? Unless you're going to have her beat Saraya. And if she beats Saraya, then you kill Saraya. So what? Again, common fucking sense. This stuff is not rocket science. It's not Japanese algebra, right? You don't have to try to figure out the difference between a kilogram and a pound. All you need to know, somebody's got to get booed. Somebody's got to get cheered. You've decided on 363 days out of the fucking year, Britt Baker is a heel. But now she's going to be a babyface just for the fact of wrestling Saraya. Stupid. Dumb. Dare I say, foolish. I am just floored at how bad they managed to botch this. Don't you understand what you're doing? Nobody wants to watch the high school quarterback lose the homecoming game. If you turn her into a fucking heel, then everybody will be happy that she lost. Instead, you're going to piss people off because they're going to look at Saraya as coming in and big league and Britt Baker. That's dumb. Whatever. Let's move on. Let's just get the fuck out of here, please. Let's just move on, please. I'm sorry. I'm upset at myself over here. Top Flight and AR Fox lose to Death Triangle. AR Fox, I have not seen this guy's face since he was in Evolve. Top Flight is back together. Start the clock on when one of them is going to get injured again. I'm glad that they're both healthy, but Top Flight has not been healthy as a tag team in 2 years. And then out of nowhere, they get a trios title match. AR Fox has never appeared on this show before, ever, as far as to my knowledge. He's never appeared on this show. He's probably been on Dark a bunch of times, or he was definitely, I don't think he was on Rampage either, but he's never been on this show. How he becomes a top contender for a trios title, I have no idea. This match is exactly as it sounds, where there's a ton of spots. There was one spot where it seemed like they ducked behind Phoenix and he just held Phoenix from behind, just holding him, where they were waiting for a bunch of other things to happen before they could start doing stuff. And I was just looking at this like, disturbing, foolish, even. I don't get it. This is dumb. This is dumb. It's not good. Death Triangle wins because, of course, why would a guy who never fucking appears on this show win a championship? It's stupid. Pac gets on the microphone. He says, do you think we are unaware? We've seen your videos, heard the rumors, if people want to make their triumphant return, and best, the Death Triangle, that's ridiculous. Please bring the heat, because we run from nobody. So then they did the screen where the Elite faded into the picture. The crowd erupted. Well, it sounded like it might have been fake, but the crowd cheered because it's going to be the Elite versus Death Triangle at Full Gear. Then they said, finally, some transparency. They've been waiting for the Elite. So now here's my thoughts on the Elite returning. Who cares? I knew they was coming back. Everybody knew they was coming back. Who cares? All right? Who cares? They're just going to come back and continue where they left off. They're going to win the trios titles from Death Triangle. And we're going to move on from there and probably try to pretend none of this stuff ever happened. But I am very interested in whether they will ever mention what took place on television. Because even during Pac's promo, he didn't want to say any names. He didn't want to say any. I mean, I don't see why. If you were bringing them back, you could have been able to say their names, but he didn't say their names. Almost as if they were still persona non grata. But okay, they're back, so that ought to help, I guess. Whatever. Ricky Starks cut a promo, says that he was not medically cleared last week to wrestle Lance Archer, which is really unfortunate because I really want them to get this out the way. So they pushed it back to this week. And it says that he's going to grab him by his braid and dog walk him around the arena. That he talks in absolutes. And he's absolutely going to beat Lance Archer. And I'm absolutely disappointed that Ricky Starks is not on my television. And instead will be try to invade my home on a Friday night. Which is not good. Because I don't want him at my house that Friday night. I have other things to do. Anyway, Ethan Page defeats Bandito in a match that completely disappointed me because I love Bandito and Ethan Page's dry toast. Bandito rules. He's very good. He can't cut promo. Well, I think he can cut promos. He does speak English. He's one of the few wrestlers I've met in person, Bandito. He's a very short guy. He's short. Ethan Page cut a promo walking to the ring saying he's going to walk through Bandito. He's going to be the next world champion. I don't like this Ethan Page. And it's not just because of the Kung Fu Man thing that he did, which of course was stupid, but that wasn't even it. Like, making a mockery of the business I watch. I mean, that's one thing. Wrestling does it to himself sometimes. Sometimes they fuck over themselves and you can't really do too much with that. Right? I mean, you want to do Karate Man, that's on you, bruh. I mean, I like to have fun too. Karate Man, some people enjoyed it. I'm not going to hold it against them. It was dumb, but he was an Impact. Impact is dumb. All right. But here's the interesting thing. Interesting scenario. Dave Meltzer buried Ethan Page on his website. So somebody who follows Dave on the board, the Wrestling Online, is it Wrestling Observer newsletter board, said he, meaning Ethan Page, pronouns, pal, does have incredible charisma in my opinion. He just hadn't had a chance to show it. And he's far better in the ring than he's given credit for. And I much prefer his matches to Phoenix or Bandito. Pac is definitely better in the ring, but Page has him on promos and charisma. I do think that Page is far better suited for WWE. Dave Meltzer says, if he had incredible charisma, we know it. You can't hide charisma. I've been watching him since 2015 regularly. He's good at everything and stands out at nothing. He's fine. I doubt he'd get anywhere in WWE. He'd have been fine in the old NXT. On the current roster, Gulak beats him in wrestling. Gulak beats him in talking. And look at where Gulak is. I wasn't even going to be that harsh on Ethan Page. I wasn't going to compare him to Drew Gulak. And you know what? Dave ain't wrong. Dave is not wrong. Drew Gulak is a better personality and a better wrestler than Ethan Page. Fortunately for Ethan Page, he's tall. All right? Drew Gulak is not. You know, that's the difference. Vince McMahon looks at short people and says, you know, what can I do for you? You know, you want wear lifts? What can I do? Ethan Page is a big enough guy that he probably would have gotten Vince's attention, but he's mid-card in every way possible. I mean, he's just the middest of mid-card guys. He's the kind of guy who could be there for 15 years and you wouldn't care. He's a guy who could be there for a cup of coffee and you probably wouldn't care. It wouldn't make a goddamn bit of difference either way. You know, and this is the guy from the firm that they're choosing to push as the solo star of the group, which, you know, is embarrassing considering, I don't know. I don't think he's the best, but he's the best they have right now. And as we've noted, he's not very good. Okay. He's just mid. He's just mid all the way around. He's mid through and through, you know, from top to bottom, inside and out, mid. He's 10 pounds of mid in a 5-pound bag, just all mid all the time. I think he's just one of the most generic wrestling guys ever. He cuts generic promos. He has a generic face, has a generic moveset. Everything about him is just generic. Dave Meltzer has been absolutely correct. I've been watching this fool on TV for a couple of years too, because he was an Impact, and I watched Impact. He stands out at nothing. I did think he had more personality than Josh Alexander, which I guess if you ever heard me praise Ethan Page, it's because I do think that his promos are okay. Again, mid. He yells, and he makes people think that yelling is good, but yelling doesn't necessarily mean that you're saying anything that people want to hear or that is good. But when you compare him to Josh Alexander, he's the fucking Rock. Because Josh Alexander has the goddamn charisma of a brick. So, no, that was easy. That was an easy hurdle to jump. So, what's it do? Oh, God. Dude mid. All right, let's move on, please. I'm trying to finish this up. There's the vignette for Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. All right, Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy, they're going to have a match, and a cage match. Okay, whatever. Oh, shit, I forgot. We got to do predictions for this fucking show, don't we? Oh, jeez. All right. I'm going to do the predictions for the show. Okay, I promise. All right. So, Toni Storm defeated Anna Jay. She got squared up with Jamie Hayter after the match. Toni Storm, I feel bad for her because she's the champion technically, but nothing's going right for her. She's got to wrestle mid-ass Jamie Hayter. Nobody believes in Jamie Hayter. Nobody cares about her. Nobody seriously. The AEW fans don't really count. They're 1/5 of a person at this point. You know, they don't really fucking count for anything. You know, they like everybody. You know, they like Emi Sakura. I literally saw them say this. Oh, why can't you have a match for Emi Sakura on TV? I'm like, well, who the fuck is clamoring for an Emi Sakura match? Just an AEW fan. You're subhuman. Anyway, moving on. Thunder Rosa, the real AEW Women's Champion, quote unquote, just learning how to run again. So apparently this was from some kind of podcast. It's from November the 12th. She was on a Wrestling Perspective podcast. She says, we made some good progress. I started running for the first time in almost 3 months. So the physical activity is getting a little bit bigger, and I'm allowed to do a lot more stuff than before. I'm not allowed to lift yet. I'm not allowed to do a lot of stuff. I'm not allowed to wrestle. But we're making progress, and the fact that I can actually jog for 7 minutes on and off, for me, is huge because I have not been able to do that. Thunder Rosa is 36, and she got like a serious back injury that has prevented her from jogging. Why is Tony Khan still pushing Thunder Rosa as the women's champion? He should have stripped her of this title long ago. She sounded like she was in a fucking car accident, man. This is some shit like you sound like she's had like a bad fall down a flight of steps. She had a seizure, a heart attack. Like, why is it her legs not working? Like, you mean to tell me that you spent 90 days in bed, incapable at all of working out? Oh my God, what kind of shit? How long is it going to take for her to get back into wrestling shape? She's already been out 3 months to do nothing. She's been able to do anything. So that means he should have stripped her long ago. How long is this interim championship thing going to go? It literally, oh boy. Tony really stepped in it this time, didn't he? Man, he stepped in a whole lot of it this time. Man, what a buffoon. Tony Khan, you're a buffoon. This girl can't walk. If this is true and this girl can't walk, what are you doing? Strip her of the fucking title and make fucking girl the champion, man. Oh God. That's crazy. All right, let's go through these predictions. I forgot about this damn show. But we gotta do predictions. I'm gonna try to make it quick. Wardlow versus Samoa Joe versus Powerhouse Hobbs. I hate triple threat matches. I don't like it. Wardlow's going to win. He's probably going to pin Hobbs. I would have preferred if it was just Joe versus Wardlow on this show. And then he could have did Wardlow versus Hobbs on TV. Or they could have did Wardlow versus Hobbs on this show. And then Wardlow versus Joe at the pay-per-view. I definitely would have preferred that. Wardlow deserves the rub of a big match with Samoa Joe. Hobbs deserves the big match with Samoa Joe too, but we're in a position where Wardlow has to go first because he's the champion. But Wardlow's going to win, so it's not going to matter for him. Death Triangle, Penta El Zero Miedo, Pac, and Rey Fenix versus the Elite, Kenny Omega, and the Young Bucks. Like I said before, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks are going to win. They're probably going to get treated like conquering heroes, sympathetic baby faces, and some more shit. It's going to piss off Jim Cornette for sure. His bulletproof glasses are definitely going to fog up, and he's going to be very upset. But they made their decision when it comes to the Elite and CM Punk. CM Punk is not welcome, apparently. And you know what? I'm not going to complain too much because I don't give a fuck about him. I don't like Phil, so who cares? Luchasaurus versus Jungle Boy, Jack Perry, steel cage match. Jungle Boy has to win this match, right? How do you book this match and Jungle Boy win it without big strong Luchasaurus coming across looking like a big old fool? Well, it's not like it matters. He is wearing a dinosaur mask. You know, so he's a guy with a dinosaur gimmick, and he cried because he had to do too many push-ups in wrestling training. And he didn't like being called a pussy or something like that by Bill DeMott or whatever the fuck it was. It was real unfortunate, but this guy's very sensitive. I don't expect him to be able to last a steel cage match. I'm gonna go with Jungle Jack Perry. Moving on. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD versus Saraya. Singles match. Saraya has to win her comeback match. It would have actually helped Britt Baker a lot more if Britt Baker was a heel. It would have gave her a great rub. She could have went in there, cheated, got some heat, got some attention on herself. She could have cut some promos. It would have been pretty different than the one she did cut. I'm really, really hoping that Britt Baker doesn't start shooting like she did on Thunder Rosa and, you know, taking shots at Saraya, because that seemed like what she was doing on Dynamite when her voice was cracking and all that other kind of shit. It sounded like she was taking what Saraya said personally, and that's not how you do this. You know, that's why they have scripts. That's why they need to have scripts in AEW. But she's got to lose. So Saraya's going to win. Hopefully it looks convincing. It doesn't look like shit. I am infinitely curious in this match because I like Britt Baker. I think she has a lot of interesting tools. I did watch her grow into a fine talent. I've never really been a big fan of Paige, but I'm very interested in seeing how she works now that she's going to limit her bumps and she doesn't want you doing anything to her from behind, which has got to be the... Why would you even be bothered with Paige if you can't do things from behind? Moving on. AEW TBS Championship, Jade Cargill versus Nyla Rose. Jade Cargill's going to win. I don't care about Nyla Rose. 4-way match for the ROH Championship. I didn't know it was a 4-way match. I did not know this. I thought it was Claudio versus Jericho, but it's going to be Jericho, Chris Jericho, Bryan Danielson, Claudio Castagnoli, and Sammy Guevara. Why would Jericho be fighting Sammy Guevara? Why would Danielson been fighting Claudio? Was that a rhetorical question, or it just seemed pretty random? Like, we got to have the Blackpool Combat Club and the Jericho Appreciation Society fighting each other. They got to fight each other for some reason, don't they? Like, I guess. But how about no? How about Jericho versus, I don't know, Wheeler Yuta? I don't know. No, probably not. Probably not Wheeler Yuta. Forgive me. Somebody's going to hit me like a Brandon iron or something like that for suggesting Wheeler Yuta have a pay-per-view match. I didn't mean it. I swear I didn't mean it. Literally, we could pick anybody. Why not Jay Briscoe? You know, Jay Briscoe is still out there. Let Jay Briscoe wrestle Chris Jericho, because Jericho wants to wrestle all the former, Ring of Honor champions anyway. How about Jay Briscoe? How about that? But looking at this fatal 4-way match, Jericho's probably going to pin Sammy or some shit in order to get out of this match. Interim AEW Women's Championship, Toni Storm versus Jamie Hayter. I don't see why you take the title off of Toni unless you're going to make her the actual world champion. Jamie Hayter has a groundswell of fan reaction, but again, as I've said, AEW fans counts as 1/5 of a person. And that 1/5 is morbidly obese and hairy as all hell and stinky. That being said, Toni Storm's going to win. I don't see why you take the title off of her. Jamie Hayter's a flash in the pan. They'll move on to somebody else, I promise. AEW World Championship Eliminator Tournament Final. Ethan Page versus To Be Determined. And this will be the winner of Ricky Starks and Lance Archer, if I remember correctly. It's likely to be Ricky Starks. So I'm going to say Ricky Starks, and I'm going to say Ricky Starks win this match. I will be greatly disappointed if Ethan Page won. I will be disturbed if Ethan Page won. TK, please don't let Ethan Page win this match. The only way look, if, let's say, by some miracle, Lance Archer wins, or let's say something really bad happens and Ricky Starks gets hurt, it has to be replaced with Lance Archer. This match is going to suck balls if it's Lance Archer versus Ethan Page. I couldn't spend enough time in a bathroom to get through this match. You know, I would need to give myself diarrhea to stay in the bathroom long enough to end this fucking match. So hopefully it's Ricky Starks, and hopefully this match isn't 45 fucking minutes. Tag team championship match: the Acclaimed versus Swerve and Glory, Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland. I'm going to go with the Acclaimed because it's the right decision. Swerve and Glory is on the verge of breaking up. I can see the split maybe happening here. Maybe Swerve beats up on Keith Lee, hits him from behind or something, just to end this feud. The Acclaimed are a good team. They're very over right now. You don't want to take the belts from them. Why would you? The problem is you don't really have too many opponents. But now the Young Bucks are back. So you got that going for you. And I guess, who else you got? I guess Top Flight is back. So I guess you got them. I don't know. But you got to do something. You know, Swerve and Glory is pretty much it. Well, I guess you got FTR. So FTR still exists. So I'm going to go with the Acclaimed. In the main event of the evening, MJF versus Jon Moxley for the AEW World Championship. I'm going to go with MJF. Jon Moxley's been waiting to go on a goddamn cruise or whatever for like 8 weeks. So I'm pretty sure he's just holding his belt like, man, is it over yet? Is it over yet? It's finally over. There's no reason to beat MJF here. You know, there's really no reason for them to beat MJF. The only problem I got here is once MJF gets the belt, it's going to be a problem because they got nobody to take it from him. You know, like he's going to be champion on a Roman Reigns run. He's going to have to go 800 days or something like that in order for him to build somebody up. And I'm talking like being legit because he'd have to wrestle all of the legit guys he's already lost to, like Jericho and guys like that. For anybody who might be asking the question, maybe CM Punk could return after this. I think there's an off chance that happens, but I wouldn't put any money on it. You know, CM Punk isn't the forgiving kind of guy. You know, he's not the live and let live kind of guy. If he took that time to go scorched earth on the company during the media scrums, and apparently they're still going to be doing media scrums, they're probably just going to be better curated than before. Then he probably knew he wasn't coming back when he did that, or really had no intention of coming back, or wanted to put Tony Khan in a bad situation. So I'm pretty sure that you can forget CM Punk not being there. But on the off chance CM Punk does show up, I don't see why you would do that here. I guess to pop a TV rating, I guess you could, but I don't know. That's just weird. It's weird. But MJF has to win. And I think MJF should cheat to win. And do it in his own way. Because, you know, if you're going to be the devil, you can't play fair. Devil doesn't play fair. We already know this. You know, it's nowhere does the devil play fair. So he's definitely going to have to cheat. Which tells me that it might be some of that firm shit where all those guys come running out there and they inadvertently, quote unquote, help MJF win the title. You know, but we'll see. I'm going to go with MJF. All right, I am very tired. I'm sleepy. Thank you guys for your time. Like, share, subscribe. I'll see you guys later for the live stream at 9 p.m. on Thursday. Peace out.